Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Look, Wrestling 101, classes in session. Pay attention to the teachings, that's from Andrew and Derek. I mean, these guys making a killing with no competition. Dynamic duo better than the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Everybody make some noise, mess with them, you get destroyed. They cannot be beat, take a seat. Watch them do they thing on the MIC. Face defeat, they cannot be seen like JC. Oh my goodness, it's a killing spree.
Hey, this is Magic, part of the Fat Boys with Big Man Jay Wise.
This is Jay Wise, and you're listening to Wrestling IQ 101.
Hey everyone, this is Andrew from Wrestling IQ 101. When I'm not hosting our podcast, I'm usually at collarandelbowbrand.com. That's right, Collar and Elbow is the only place that combines wrestling with street attire. And I know what you're thinking, I want to look fashionable too, and I also want to save 10%. So head over to collarandelbowbrand.com and use the promo code WIQ101 and look fashionable and save some money. And now, on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. I'm Andrew, and you can follow Wrestling IQ 101 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And today joining me is Brutal Bob Evans. How's it going, man?
Good, Andrew. So if this is Wrestling IQ, does that mean that you're going to teach us up and we're going to get smarter and my wrestling intelligence and my IQ is finally going to be over 101? Or how does this work?
Well, I think you teach. Well, I'll ask the questions and then you'll teach the audience. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to be a part of a show called Wrestling IQ. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you're used to teaching and training wrestlers, and you have your own website. It's called thewrestlelife.com. Why should aspiring wrestlers who want to just make this their full-time career, wrestlers who want to keep their full-time career, make it their weekend hobby, why should they check this out?
Oh, sure. Well, thank you for asking. Almost like we talked about it beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I'm doing this new project called thewrestlelife.com. It's been in my head for a long time, and I've been really going hard at wrestling as either a side hustle or a full-time deal for the past, I'd say, 5 years now. And what I noticed is when I made it my side hustle, even if I was working full-time hours on it, it worked great for me because I had structure with my full-time job. I had my family life. My time was full. My time was rich. I had plenty of stuff to do. For a little while in April of 2018, I made the declaration I was going to go into wrestling full time. And when I did that, all of a sudden wrestling turned into a job. And as you know, when sometimes, unless you really like your work, which I do, thank goodness, but, you know, wrestling all of a sudden was put in a different category for me. It wasn't a fun thing that I made some money at and got to make a whole bunch of friends and serve the business and really do a lot of good. All of a sudden it turned into something I had to do every day. And that was something that was a new category and a new way to structure it, and it didn't work for me very well. So within 8 or 9 months, I realized that it wasn't for me. I sunk back into my gambling addiction, and now I'm two years clean, but on February 13th, 2019, that was my last bet, and that was pretty much I kind of had started to come to that recollection in January of 2019, where I said, you know, this is really not working for me. I kind of have to go back to where I was. And it probably took me another year to get back. I mean, myself and Tim Hughes, my partner in Tough Guy Inc. tag team, we really were on a pace to wrestle exactly the way we wanted to in 2020. And it worked for, I think, approximately 3 shows. And then we all got shut down. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to help people formulate plans for however they want to utilize wrestling in their life. They just want to do it once in a while for fun and be a local legend. That's fine. And I'm not saying that with any sarcasm. That's not a shot. If they want to do it part-time and make it a good part-time income, like having a good second job, like landscaping on the weekends or, working a second job, something like that. If they want to make it a nice little side income, we can help them with that and keep their regular job because they like their regular job and the benefits that it entails. Or if they want to go full-time with it, we can help them with that too. and teach them how to travel, and all three of those categories, we can teach you how to travel, we can teach you how to save money. I used to tell people, sleep in your car, do whatever you have to do. I don't really do that anymore because I've figured out ways to save between 15 and 100% on travel.
Mm-hmm.
I found ways to save on staying in nice hotels where we're not sleeping on the floor, there's not cockroaches all around, and a free breakfast means bacon, eggs, and toast. It doesn't mean an old stale muffin in a wrapper that was there 3 weeks ago. I'm talking a better quality of traveling life. And then also I teach you how to manage your time, I stress that people do wrestling to honor their family and, really try not to miss any of those moments when your kids are growing up or when you have something special with your wife planned. I also teach people how to communicate with their spouses and kids and tell them, hey, this is important to me, but you're more important. But how can we do this where we can kind of compromise and make it good for everybody? So one of the things I suggest to people is take your family on a wrestling trip. So they can, but you could always leave them in the hotel room on Saturday night, and then on your way home on Sunday morning or afternoon, you have a nice breakfast, and then you guys do something on Sunday on the way home, on the way back that you wouldn't necessarily go to if wrestling didn't take you to that town. So I really try to help people get a little creative and while enriching their lives, make a little more money so they can afford all these things. And really the biggest thing is a couple of the guys have been kidding me, and they said, oh, so you're making a website that basically says, hey, I don't want to get yelled at by my wife anymore. And I go, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we are. So, and it's, I've been helping out. I've really been into the marketing end lately because I've been learning a lot about marketing, so I'm passing that on to everybody in the site. And I've been helping people with podcasts and announcers and all that stuff. I mean, Kevin Kelly just jumped in to help people with classes. Put his first 2 classes on there with promos, and they've been very well received. And we're just going to kind of keep coming with the content. Just released 3-4 pieces of new content the past couple of days, and we're just going to keep them coming. I got 2 more I have to release this week, and maybe 3 more if I can fit it all in. So, and it's just going to keep growing as a community. So it's only about 3 months in, so for 90 days we're doing really well. And, but that's pretty much it. Just help people, however they want to do wrestling, we help them get the most out of wrestling without wrestling sucking the life out of them. So that's basically the way to say it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you're helping people with their merchandise. I mean, like you said, you're helping wrestlers get bookings with other promoters, how to talk to them, how to reach out. I mean, you're giving everybody a full range of knowledge here, how to really progress in their life, and that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to take you up on some of the girlfriend tips.
Perfect. Well, we do, you know my deal. Do a little coaching call at the end, and we'll help you straighten all that out. So, yeah, it's... that was something I actually learned early on, and then I put it away and never used it again. And then because my wife and I used to, this is way before kids, but when we were kids ourselves, we were 21, 22 years old, but you kind of make a night of it. You're only getting $25, so what the hell? You might as well make a vacation about it and have the $25 to buy you a meal or something. But you just go and you get a nice hotel and you do some shopping the next day, Sunday afternoon, and you take a nice leisurely ride home, and the wife feels like, hey, those are nice trips. And we hadn't done a trip like that in a while, and now it's, the wife and the 2 kids, but we did that last year to Vermont, and we had a blast. It was great. So, again, you don't have to just be this cold-hearted. My whole thing, Andrew, is that I don't want people to think that they have to be either you're beating Roman Reigns for the belt at WrestleMania, and you're pointing to the sign, and you're going to win the belt, and it's going to be like the Super Bowl or whatever, or you have to be a broke independent wrestler on drugs, and you're ruining your life, and you can't make any money. Like, there's got to be an in-between. And so many people have learned and proven now that there is an in-between. I'm just trying to open that up and tell independent wrestlers, you don't have to be broke. You don't have to be broke wrestlers that work for $20. If that's all that can be afforded by the promoter, then make you $20 and then figure out other ways to make money. And there's probably 50 or 100 or 1,000 different ways to make money while you're wrestling, and they're all ethical, and you can tell your mother about them. You don't have to do anything surreptitious. That's right, surreptitious right here. Wrestling IQ, this is where we use the big word.
Yeah, right?
So, but I'm saying you don't have to do anything that that wouldn't match up with your values. I'm not, nothing dirty, nothing like that, but I'm just saying, like, I've worked for I used to work for a company called Roadie, which is basically Uber for things. Basically, take my piano and take it from Fall River, Massachusetts to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'll give you a couple $100. Well, go find a show around Charlotte, North Carolina, and your transit's paid for. You're going to have to move a piano, but so what? You know, you just do that. You help pay for your trans, and now you basically have a fully subsidized trip to Charlotte and back if you play your cards right. You watch your money.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what we do. You know, it's so I did that. I've done stuff where I've shopped at Target. I've gone to different Targets or Walmarts, go to the clearance aisle, shop those and see what I can buy, and then turn around selling on eBay for 2 or 3 times the money. Now that might not be pretty, and you might be like, well, hey, that's not wrestling. But yeah, the wrestling trip afforded you that chance to go to that store for those particular clearance items, and now you can buy it. So, and who cares? Who cares? The money spent. It's perfectly legal, ethical, and moral, and you're doing what you have to do. And I've had trips where the last day I went to this thrift store, I went to this bargain store, and I bought $100 worth of action figures and sold them for $400 online, made $300, and I was $200 in the hole. So now I'm $100 ahead. So you're gonna sit there and tell me that it was an unwise decision on my part. So these are just a few of the little tactics we have with people, and you know, I don't mind dropping some hints here, but we have a whole bunch more of them in the site. But yeah, that's kind of the thing I'm doing. It's like you got to be ahead of this. You got to be ahead of this, and you got to empower yourself to be a little bit more creative, make some different decisions. You can still wrestle, still have fun. One of the things I teach people too is to treat it more like a business. And if you call it a business, that means you can write it off on your taxes. And the first 3 years, you can take a loss. Now, I'm not an accountant, so don't. I got D- in my accounting class, Andrew. So that's why it's not called accounting IQ.
Okay.
But it's so I got D- in both those classes. However, I can tell you that this is true. So they'll let you take a loss 3 years in a row. Well, if you lose $2,000 or $3,000 at wrestling, and I don't want you to do that, I want you to be able to be blessed enough to pay taxes eventually. But in the first couple of years, your mileage and your expenses and your gear and your phone and all this stuff all of a sudden becomes tax deductible because you're in a business, and you can plug that right into your taxes, and you know you'll be quite pleasantly surprised about that. Now, it's not dollar for dollar, but it'll certainly help you. It'll certainly help offset a lot of those costs.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. That's another thing. Works for podcasting too, Andrew.
Oh, pretty
Just
cool.
let you know.
Awesome.
So, yeah, man. But yeah, the girlfriend and wife issue has been something that it has been a puzzle that needs to be solved, and I think we're finally giving people some answers so they can have a better quality of life. So.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Bob. When you're home, right? What are some things that you like to do? Do you have like a favorite TV show, a favorite like kind of music you like to listen to, a favorite movie?
Well, I like pretty much. I ran a music store for like 3 years back when I was, about 20 years ago. So I grew to appreciate just about every kind of music. I'd say right now I listen to a lot of pop stuff because I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old at home.
Okay.
So, but I've been trying to keep, get my kids a little more well-rounded, give them some oldies. But for me, the oldies is 80s now, 80s and 90s. But so we and my wife and I have similar tastes. We like country music too.
Okay.
So a little bit of everything. There's very little music that I can't listen to as long as it has a little catchy. I like catchy music. I like things you can sing to. Fast or slow, it doesn't matter. I like a lot of women artists, a lot of women vocalists. I don't know, the female voice, I'm a red-blooded American male. You know how that goes, Andrew. So, the female voice is just a beautiful woman singing a beautiful song is a great thing. So, and then as far as movies, though, we've been kind of catching up. We've been showing the kids some of the 80s comedies that we grew up on. We just watched Coming to America yesterday to get ready for the second one coming up soon.
Oh, nice.
That's being recorded. So had to have a little parental guidance in the room for that because there's some sexy moments in it. So we had to kind of make sure that parents were there to give guidance. But my kids are pretty mature, and they realize that it's all in good fun. So the silliness. So, but yeah, mostly comedies. Disney Plus has been on fire, and Netflix and Hulu and all that, just like everybody else this past year. So, but yeah, it's and then my daughter and I, my 12-year-old daughter and I, are watching The Office. So we're watching a lot of that, and I think we're gonna watch Modern Family after that. So, so I've watched The Office all the way through, and now I'm watching it with my daughter Katie. So it's fun. It's a good time. We catch a few episodes when we can on Peacock, the new home of The Office and WWE Network, coming this month. So, it's fun. It's a good time. But I watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Criminal Minds and Bull, and I like courtroom dramas. I like Criminal Minds. I didn't think I liked, and then I got really into it. So that's some true crime stuff. The Woody Allen documentary on HBO Max. So I've been trying to watch a lot of TV, but try to do it when I'm, on my own, spend the time. I do a lot of time in the car, so I listen to a lot of podcasts too. So, so I keep myself busy.
Let me ask you this. What's your favorite episode of The Office? Because it's a hard question, I know. So many good episodes.
My favorite episode of The Office right now is that, because right now I think we just started season 7. So I would say the one of the episodes is when Pam and Jim get married. I like that. I really like the ending of that.
Yeah.
I like the one on the boat when they have the kiss and all that. So I'm kind of a Pam and Jim guy.
All right.
I liked the finale. I thought the finale was really good.
Yeah.
There's I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So if you're like I said, I'm a Pam and Jim guy. So I like the fact when they were kind of apart for a couple of episodes and then they got back together again. I cried like a baby. So it's the good thing about that show, and I know some people think it's overrated, so I'm not going to act like it's the greatest show of all time. But I liked it. It's a good, solid show. People should watch it. But I like that the fact that you start identifying with the characters and everybody has their favorites, and I think it's going to be that and Big Bang Theory. I think they're probably going to be the two biggest sitcoms of all time. So when it's all said and done.
And it's funny because you said the season finale. I mean, it was probably one of the best season finales that you could ever write for like a show like that, I think. So I think it went off pretty well, in my opinion.
Agree. I think it tied everything up good and left a few threads in case they want to come back, and I'm sure they'll do something in the future,
Yeah, I hope so. My favorite is Prison Mike. That's my favorite episode.
Prison Mike is great. And then the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so they have a couple of great episodes of The Office, and you might not put it over, but I'll put it over. It's one of the greatest shows.
But I know been suffering some backlash, which to me is just ridiculous.
Really?
People, I don't get it, it's overrated and all that. So, well, the first season's a little choppy.
Yeah.
And then the second season. But same thing with Parks and Rec. You get through the first season of Parks and Rec, it's a great show.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You just gotta because they realized the mistakes they made.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that cast is as good as any. I'll stack that cast up with the Office cast as far as quality,
Yeah.
So, all those shows are good. The 30 Rock's really good. I like all those shows. So
now this has become a running question here, but after the show, after you're on your way back home or to the next show, where's the place you have to go? Like, you have to go to Wawa? Do you like to go to McDonald's? Is there a certain place that you just need to go to after the show, or do you just go right home?
No, we usually if we're down where are you located?
Me, I'm in Jersey.
Okay, so you're in Jersey. So if I'm in Mass, so most of the stuff I'm doing is going to be coming from south to north, obviously. So Tim lives in New Jersey, and he lived in Pennsylvania for a while. So we hit Wawa.
Yes.
We really hadn't hit that Wawa Sheetz line yet. And then we'll go to Sheetz. We do Sheetz too. And then, but if we went down south, we do Cookout at the end. Cause the first meal, like a dinner after the last show, we usually did 2 or 3 show loops minimum. So we don't usually go to one show and come back. So we do a pretty good loop and we come back.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, I'd always take everybody out to Cookout because first of all, Cookout's awesome, and second of all, you can feed everybody for $6 a piece. So it was you could be a big spender there and get the whole car food for less than $30. So it's kind of good. So so Cookout's really the only the real and I took when my family we went to Florida, we drove to Orlando to go to Disney, and I showed them all the spots that the spots we always hit on the way down, and by far their favorite was Cookout. My wife's like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to Cookout again."
I'm gonna have to
So
put that down.
oh yeah, yeah, yep.
Cookout.
It's great. They do. It's always packed, but don't be scared because they go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost always have 2 drive-through lines going at once. And it's quick, man. It's just good food, good stuff. You'll find something you like, and it's a very diverse menu. It's crazy. They got a bunch of big menu, and you can get a burger and 2 sides and a drink for like $7. So
Yeah, your career.
It's not some little hamburger too. It's like good food,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm always looking for some good grub.
man.
And your career spans a long time, and you've been in the ring with so many different people. But what's like a dream match that you haven't had yet that you're just kind of itching for? That you always wanted, maybe.
Dream match? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I my goals are different. I never really, it would have been fun to work like it would have been fun to do like a WrestleMania thing, but I would have been happy getting thrown out in the Battle Royal. Like, I wouldn't have cared about, all that. So, I don't know. I don't know if I would have. I don't know. Really, it would probably be something like wrestling the Midnight Express or something. I mean, Tim and I got to wrestle the Rock and Roll Express, which is super great. That was super fun.
It's amazing.
And Ricky Morton's turned into a personal friend, which first time I met him, I started crying because he meant so much to me when I was growing up watching wrestling. Because I grew up watching Crockett in the 80s, like when it was red hot. And I'm a kid from Massachusetts watching down south wrestling, and I'm digging it, So, but Robert Gibson really liked me too. Funniest thing about the Rock and Roll Express that always makes me laugh is that, they would be smaller guys, these little guys, and I'm like, Ricky Morton's like 5'10" and 220 pounds, and Robert Gibson's almost my size, probably 6'1", 6'2", and 230, 240. Like, those guys aren't small. They just wrestle Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Dr. Death every night, so they look small. And
yeah, right.
But,
yeah, those guys aren't that tiny. So yeah, they're and they were wrestling the Giants, like you said, their generation.
I was always around like the whole Midnight Express rock, because Jim Cornette got me. Jim Cornette was the guy that got me into Ring of Honor, and Jim Cornette. I've been friends with Jim Cornette since before I started wrestling, when I was just a fan. One of the pictures that I took of him that he asked for a copy of, he put in his book, the first book, that scrapbook of the Midnight Express. So, and then we were fortunate enough to reconnect later on, and we met up, and I impressed him and started having me manage Mike Bennett, and the whole thing grew from there, and still get along quite well. I'm friends with Jim Cornette and Vince Russo, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Or something wrong. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're one of 2 people that have that claim. I think Al Snow has that same relationship.
Al Snow, I think Al Snow has maintained a good relationship with both people.
Yeah.
I think because I've acknowledged that I'm Jim, because I said to Vince Russo, I said, "Oh, watch out, I'm a Jim Cornette guy."
Oh my God.
And he kind of just laughed and shook my hand, and he goes, and I said, "No, I'm just teasing, man." I said, because he helped out my friend Matt Yaden in Rocky Mountain Pro in Denver for a long time, and trying to help Matt, and and Vince wasn't doing it for the almighty dollar. He was kind of doing a lot of it for very, very discounted rates, which I thought was great. So, Vince Russo is a tremendous. He can sit down. Vince Russo is the best conversations I've ever met. He'll sit down with you, and every question will be about you. He'll talk to you for 15 straight minutes and not say anything about himself. He'll just ask you about you. What do you do? What do you do? He wants to know what you can do, and I've seen him bring people's characters out really well. Now, do I want Vince Russo booking my television? Absolutely not, because Vince is a super nice guy and wants to get everybody on TV every single week, and you just can't possibly do it. Then you have minute-and-a-half matches and 20 run-ins, and it's very difficult to develop characters if it's that much activity. Vince Russo's problem is he was too nice and couldn't say no to people.
Yeah. And it's crazy how long they worked together in various companies too, Vince Russo and Jim Cornette.
Yeah, and I think they were both pretty opinionated guys, and
yeah,
had their own ideas, and and Jim Cornette taught me more about wrestling, I think, than just about anyone as far as watching it and what to look out for and all that. So, still very. If you ever listen to any of the stuff where he's running down, he does rundowns of the TV and analyzes the pay-per-views and stuff. He's still brilliant. Still has all the answers.
Yeah,
So
I listened to both his
delivery
podcasts.
system,
Yeah, I listened to both of them, and sometimes I have to go back and watch things, and I'm like, yo, he was like spot on. And I know he gets a lot of flag because of sometimes how he phrases things, but he's rarely wrong. He's like rarely like not on point. Like it's sometimes it's the phrasing of things.
And the thing is too, I think a lot of times some of his comments get fluffed up.
Yeah.
And he plays into it because it's more listens and more sponsorship money and things like that. But that's the best part about having a podcast. Like, if you say something like that, you're like, so what? I'm going to broadcast next week anyway. So, and him getting fired from NWA, I don't really think he was doing that for the money anyway.
Yeah.
They're probably paying his trans to give him a few $100. Like, I don't think it wasn't like he was losing $10,000 a week or anything,
Yeah, he didn't really seem to care.
No, and the thing is, like, I've heard him use that line so many times that, and I'm I'm 48, I'm a little older, so I was used to the fans saying the F word for a gay person at, at the Beverly Brothers when they wrestled the Bushwhackers. So, and they would say, any tag team that did the hug, we'll hug each other, and that was a big deal. And they chant that word at him the whole time, like. And I probably, when I was a younger teenager and a smart ass, I probably chanted it a few times myself. Not something I'm proud of, but it's just it's the environment, but that was also 30 years ago, so maybe even longer. So is it something I would chant now? Of course not. And the thing is, they started chanting that at the show a couple of years ago, and Tim's 20 years younger than me, so Tim was like another fine New Jersey man, but Tim was like, can you believe what they're chanting? I go, what? And he said, they're chanting, the F word for that. I go, I didn't even, and it wasn't that I was for it, but I've heard it so many times at wrestling shows, not for a while, but I've heard it so many times at wrestling shows, it didn't even register with me. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy how things blend like that.
Right. So that's, man, but it's, it's a crazy world, and, people say things and people make mistakes, but I try to be friendly with everyone. It doesn't always work, and I was kind of an arrogant guy when I started, and I didn't burn bridges, but I made it hard for people to like me. And so now I try to make it easy for people to like me, and it's easy for me to like other people.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I noticed I was going through some of your Facebook pictures, and I saw that every time you post something, because we're Facebook friends, you have the biggest smile, and your fans have the biggest smile next to you, and it's so pure. I was actually going to ask you about that because do you feel the same level of excitement as they do feel meeting you?
I just love going to wrestling, man, and I love helping people. Like we did and this is not a plug for the site because it's just something that came up. It's natural. I promise. Andrew and I didn't talk about this in the back. I promise. But I did start with me and my man Wildman Congo, Mike Medina. We just started a new show on the site called Back Whim. It's called Bob and Congo Watch Your Match, and we did it with a guy named Sean Martin, who's a good Canadian boy, way up in Chris Jericho territory, Bret Hart territory, Alberta. He's way up there, and he's kind of struggling because they've been locked down for a while. So I said, hey man, we've been working with this new concept where we take one of your matches and we do a screen share. And we just watch the thing, and we just break it down like nuts and bolts, like right down to the minute piece. What do you think? He's like, let's do it. And so it took us an hour. It took us 70 minutes to watch a 12-minute match.
Holy
because
crap.
we kept pausing it. Well, we kept pausing it, breaking it down, giving advice, But I loved it. And the thing is, you could tell it really helped. It helped everybody, because we're all kind of like locked in here. And it's something that I would do at my seminars, help you with your matches and talk to you, do this, make suggestions. And now you can do it. And man, I just stood there on my computer, man, and we were just talking and breaking it down and having a good old time, and it was very cathartic. It was kind of nice to have that, and I'm going to do it again next week with a buddy of mine, Charles Anders from Alabama, who's another member of the site, and we're going to break his match down and probably be the same thing. It's just fun as hell, man. Like we have to start finding ways until we get back to reach out to people, make those connections. You know, I was very fortunate, Andrew. I worked more during this. I was out more because I deliver medicine to nursing homes. So I was very essential. You know.
Yeah.
I also saw it took. I mean, they were. I hate to be gross, but they were pulling bodies out of there every day for a long time. Massachusetts, we got creamed a little bit less than you guys did, but just about as bad. And you know, I mean, some of the 3 nursing homes I used to deliver to on my route got almost 100 dead in 2 months combined. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's just 3 nursing homes. So I mean, I saw the toll it took on the nurses, and I saw the toll it took on everybody. But but I think the people that had to stay home and not work and suffered financially and also suffered mentally, and the people that couldn't go work out, and you know, I mean, gyms were closed. I mean, things are starting to open up now, starting to loosen up a little bit, but it's still very challenging. So one of the things I've been doing is just really try, and this is what I suggest to everybody. You know, just reach out to 5 or 10 people a day. Just say, how you doing? Everything good? You know, you never know what kind of message that might mean to people, because, you know, I've been close to talking to people and keeping them on this earth, you know, and I'm not a great guy for doing it because I hope somebody would do it for me too. But that's just the way, you know, that's where we are right now, man. Like, it's difficult. It's a difficult process we're going through, and it's just unparalleled times, as people say. So, no, man, and I'll be thrilled to go see everybody again. Like, I can't wait. I got my first vaccination about a week ago as we're taping this, and hopefully by the end of March I'll be all clear, you know, and travel will be a lot easier. But I also told my wife that I'm not taking a dime out of the household budget. I'm going to work extra hours at my job, so even though I get paid really well for wrestling, I'm going to treat it like I'm not making any money, and I'm just going to not take anything out of the budget. So if I have to work extra, I have to work extra. I'm gonna live my message that I'm putting on the rest of life, you know.
Yeah.
So,
hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love meeting the fans. I love every bit of it. I love taking pictures with the wrestlers. They go, "Oh, I'm a mark. I'm gonna take." Said, "Please, let's do this." You know, that's one of the things I treasure is that, you know, I haven't gotten the picture with Hulk yet, but Hulk and Piper were the 2 guys that made me love wrestling. And I got a chance to take a picture of Roddy Piper, and man, you know, 6 months later, he was gone.
Yeah, that happened.
He was gone.
Yeah, that happened to me too, because I met him in the early spring. I had a Hogan shirt on when I met him, and I'll never forget. He was like growling and snarling at me, like, and he's like, "Come here," and he gave me like this like genuine hug. And I remember I had a family member in the hospital, and they said Roddy Piper died, and I was like, "Please don't tell me that. Like, don't tell me that," because I just met him. He looked fine.
It was crazy, man, because I met him. I was fortunate to meet him twice. The first time was really more for a friend of mine because he was getting a picture, and he just said, but the first time I met him, he made me feel like the most comfortable guy in the room. Made me feel like I was his best friend.
Really?
I've never. Supposedly, President Clinton is like that too. That same kind of conversationalist. Those are the only 2 people I've ever heard that about. But I've never met someone who could make somebody feel at ease. And I remember when I met him the second time, I said, "Oh man," I said, "You know, I just want to let you know how much you mean to me, and you know, can I take a picture with you? You know, I know we're not friends, but you've always, you know, you're." And he said, "I met you. We are friends. I love you. You're my brother." And then that was it. I was like, "That's," and that was a very important lesson to me to learn. Not that I didn't already know it, but it kind of was like Roddy Piper gave me permission to be the guy I wanted to be, because I always wanted to be that guy. I want to make people feel great when I walk into the locker room. I want to make everybody feel good. Like, I want everybody to learn. I want everybody to feel great when they leave. Like, I don't want it to be a negative thing, you know. Like, I don't want it to be like, "Oh, Bob, he's a knowledgeable guy, so he's going to hang the knowledge over our head and make me feel stupid because I don't know as much as he does." I always hated seminars and when other guys came in the room and they'd ask you questions to kind of try to get you. And I never wanted to do that, you know, and they were sarcastic, and I have my sarcastic moments too, but I don't want to be that with young guys and girls. Like, I want to make them excited about the business. Like, I always say it. Even though I'm fired up now, man. I was tired before I talked to you, and now I'm all fired up, but it's like, isn't this a fun business? Like, we're so grateful just to even be talking about it. And you know, there's so many people that have it worse than us. Like, and we've had our struggles, but we're going to be fine. Like, and we still have wrestling to look forward to. Like, that's one of the things that's gotten a lot of people through this. And I know some people are out there traveling and doing their thing, and I know some people that were actually fortunate enough to get 30, 40 matches in 2020. But, I mean, good for them, but a lot of us didn't.
Yeah.
But it's such a fun business, and I just want to help people do. I don't want people to quit because they can't make money at this. That's the worst, because we're all willing to do it for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but why do it for free if you can get paid?
Yeah, right?
And it doesn't mean steal from somebody else. It means this is a good pile. It's infinite. You know what I mean? It really is.
You gotta get that fuck money.
Well, that's a different situation. But yeah.
Yeah, no, Virgil told me that.
Well, Virgil has his, Virgil, I don't, see, the thing with Virgil is if Virgil kind of still had his fun side, but did something to kind of, like, serve the business,
Yeah.
then, I think he'd be pretty good. But, Virgil likes to take.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, Virgil,
No,
you're a great guy, but,
he.
anyway.
But yeah, so going forward, you got Tough Guy Inc., of course, with your tag team partner Tim Hughes.
Yep.
And if people aren't familiar, which I don't know why they wouldn't be, there's so many great matches they can look up. There's you and Ken Dixon. There's you and Max Moon. There's you and Cheeseburger. You and LSG. I mean, you've even taken on the New Age Outlaws, Adam Bomb, Joey Abs. I mean,
right, yes, the New Age Outlaws with good old Teddy Goods. So, yeah, it was fun.
And you've also even wrestled Teddy as well.
Oh yeah, Teddy's one of my. Well, I helped train Teddy. I don't want to say he's one of my sole trainees because he got training in a lot of other good places too. But yeah, Teddy's one of my babies too.
Yeah, there's C.W. Anderson. There's so many great wrestlers. Rick Recon is in that list.
Great.
There's even a tag team match with somebody I interviewed in the past, and that's Keith Lee and Shane Taylor. And
we were their first match in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So
yeah, we got our heads handed to us. We lost very, very badly, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But they're great guys. Keith, might take him a while because he's big time now, which is great. He deserves every minute of it. But I still keep in touch with those guys. Shane and I had some weird tag match in Texas too. Me and Tim versus Shane and Jerome Griffey, and it was a weird match because he was. I told him that I let me run things, and we ended up taking like one bump apiece and got out of there. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, I usually do so much stuff. You took one bump and got out of there. I go, yeah, I did, and we got paid the same. I said, and it's not laziness. It's giving the people what they want. It was a character match.
Mm-hmm.
There was an issue between. It was like he was a babyface and he's teaming up with a heel, and he hates the heel, but he can't put his hands on him. It was one of those things, and then we figured out a way where he could get his hands on the heel and beat him up, and it was a whole thing. And so it was a storyline match. It wasn't really you're not going to do a bunch of moves and break up the pin. It wasn't that kind of a match. We love doing those matches too.
Yeah.
But we've had matches against, the Ducklings and, like those guys are great. We were fortunate enough to wrestle the Young Bucks once. That was great. We've been they're not currently teaming, but the Gymnasty Boys, those guys are awesome.
Oh yeah, White Mike.
To wrestle those guys. Yep.
Yeah.
Mike and Timmy Lou.
Yeah,
yep.
Timmy Lou. Yeah.
So they're pursuing singles action right now, but you never know. We might see a reunion down the line, and yeah, man, it's been a nice ride. Really, it's had a lot of fun on the Indies. LSG, I've got to see grow from just a young Monster Factory guy who I didn't really know very well until now. He's becoming his own man and doing some great things at Ring of Honor. And turn around, he's wrestling Jay Lethal in 15 minutes and giving him a hard time and having some really good quality matches and kind of growing up, becoming a man. And I love it, man. And Cheeseburger's doing his thing now, and he runs his own school, Worldwide Dojo. Check it out. It's in where the old Ring of Honor dojo was, and he does classes. And then my dear close personal friend Sumi Sakai, who I've known for 20 years,
she's amazing.
She helps him out training too, and she's a great trainer too. So a lot of good people doing a lot of good things, Andrew. It's that's one of the fun things about being an older guy. You get to see everybody else grow up too, So it's been a lot of fun seeing these guys. I remember Berger when he was just little guy helping out at Ring of Honor shows. Now he's filled out a little bit. He's still a skinny guy, but you know, I don't think he's more than $150. But but he's getting older and maturing, and now he teaches, and his students are really good. And you know, it's cool, man. It's cool seeing all these guys develop, and girls too. You know, seeing a lot of the girls develop and grow, and you know, do bigger and better things. It's fun.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, they can go back and they can check out the stuff you've done for Impact Wrestling, or ROH, and of course other shows around the great United
WWE
States.
Things in there.
Yeah, of course.
You know, if you look around on YouTube, you can probably find me and Gangrel. You're probably gonna have to sift through some of those kind of crusty VHS transfers they have on YouTube, but it's there somewhere. And I think I wrestled my old Kowalski pal Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko one time, so you know that'll be mixed in there somewhere. So
Yeah.
had a lot of fun. Had a good run. Did a lot of things I wanted to do. I'm still not done. You know, but just celebrated 29 years in wrestling. And like I said, man, this new thing, it's fun to be a student again. I'm taking a lot of marketing classes, and you know, without sounding arrogant, it's fun not to be the smartest guy in the room anymore. It's kind of fun screwing up and having to fix your mistakes instead of kind of having to watch other people's mistakes, you know? So that's one of the things that's really helped me. And, you know, it's kind of helped my teaching and learning too, you know, learning from different people and seeing how they teach people. And that's been kind of helped with me too. So I'm really trying to kind of grow. And, you know, while there's not a lot of physical activity I can do, I still get to the gym. I do that, but not a lot of in-ring stuff. So we just kind of try to figure out how to tackle it different ways.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to kind of get creative with your stuff. I mean, that's why some of the big stars here, they find a way to reinvent themselves and keep their name out there and do different things. Like The Undertaker, 20, 30-year career, you know, he has to do something different all the time. He just can't be the same.
Oh, yeah, look at Jericho. Same thing. Matt Hardy. I mean,
oh, yeah.
You know, great examples of that right there. And, you know, a lot of people have done it. Even the Young Bucks, they become, you know, the Young Bucks used to be the rebels, and now they're kind of the bigwig, the corporate bigwigs now, you know, so that's change. You know?
That's funny how things turn around like that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like they used to be the guys kind of struggling and rebelling against we're indie guys and this and that, and all of a sudden they become the authority. You know, isn't that funny?
Yeah, like Triple H too, right?
Exactly.
He was telling people to suck it.
I remember Triple H when he had his crazy New Hampshire accent and just doing terrorizing, working for Walter Kowalski, Joe Kowalski shows, and he gets shot in WCW, and then I stupidly said, I've said this many times, I think I've said it to him once too, I just said, yeah, I don't think this kid's going to have the stuff, I don't think he's going to make it, and boy did he make it. So,
yeah, right?
If I've ever been proven wrong about anybody, it's that guy, so he's doing great, and now he's a guy who's really been kind of mentoring people and kind of giving people a leg up, and really reaching out to the independent wrestling community, which is great, because for a long time, and I don't know what happened, I guess maybe just he evolved and he changed, which is great, but I know he didn't really have a lot to say about the independents back in the day, and now I think, you know, really the guys in WWE and NXT are the ones in independent wrestling that were kind of the ones that have been propping it up, have been those good, reliable indie guys, you know?
Yeah, of course. Brutal Bob, I hate to let you go, but where can people find you on social media? Where can they find Wrestling Life?
Well, the WrestlingLife.com, that's pretty much straightforward, so you go right on that. And then there'll be a little bar up there. If you use the promo code 50OFF, so 50OFF, you can get your 50% off your first month. And then you go on from there. And like I said, we have tons of content in there all the time. My 4-hour masterclass is in there. It's basically a blueprint for whatever you want to do in wrestling. It's all lined up for you right there. Kevin Kelly has a couple of classes right now called Spoken Word. He's going to have more, but he's been traveling back and forth to Japan. So right now we have a couple of classes called Spoken Word, and they deal with promos, how to communicate better. Later on, they're going to be a little bit more announcer-friendly, so we're going to talk about TV announcing and what to do and how to communicate with promoters, how to ask for what you want and get what you want from promoters, too. All communication can be pretty much all kind of works together. So, and we have, again, I told you a little bit about back when Bob and Congo Watch Your Match with an independent guy, but we also have Bob and Congo Watch a Match, which is us watching a match from the bigger guys. And what we do is it's a watch-along show, and then we analyze it and tell the guys what the big guys did and how they can put it in their matches too. So instead of yelling at them to go watch this match and tell me what you see, we kind of watch it with them and explain to them what maybe some of those veterans are telling them to do. So we have that. I have a couple classes. I have one class where I teach you how to book a 2,200-mile loop in 3 or 4 days. Teach you to drive in a nice car, sleep in a nice hotel, still get back to work in a reasonable amount of time. I just put a class up where I teach you how to book a flight for anywhere between 5 and 18% off, and that's right in the site too. And I have 2 podcasts. One with Eric Wimay. He wrestles as Richard Ozias, that's why. So we call him Oz. And he does 500-600 people a show, turns 100 people away every time he promotes a show. So what's he doing that we're not doing in the States? So I asked him some questions. The first one has been a lot about the mindset issues that promoters go through, and the second one is going to be much more of a Q&A where we ask specifically, what did you do? What were the steps you took? We're going to get best practices from all these guys, and we're going to lay them out for you so you can get your show better. And I have a promoter rescue show right now that I'm working on. It's more of like a case study more than a show. And I have 5 promotions that I'm working secretly with right now. And my goal is to get them 2 or 3 times the revenue at the end of 2021. Now we also have to have full capacity for me to do that. But we're going to get them. We're going to get them solid. We're going to get them in the black, and we're going to get them out of debt. And they're not going to be running the red anymore. So lots of exciting things on the site. Lots more stuff to come. Sales, marketing, all that stuff. In-ring stuff will come. The closest thing we have right now is the Bob and Congo Watch Your Match. But once we get going, we'll have in-ring where we'll do examples. We're going to show excerpts from some of my live seminars when I get back on the road again. So there'll be plenty of stuff to watch, plenty of stuff to work on, and really just, man, it's really just a site that helps people really figure out what they want in wrestling and get it, and make a few bucks on the side and still honor their family in their regular life.
Awesome. Well, Bob, thank you so much for taking out the time and talking with us here.
Sure, man. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Maybe we can figure out that girlfriend problem.
All right, sounds good. And for us, this has been Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And we'll see you very soon.